So going along with the fact that our Gemara seems to be mirroring our Yom Tovim, beginning from the other night where we were discussing Paris Mappa, when and they ended up when Purim falls out on Erev Shabbos, and the Indian of being Paris Mappa, being mafsik one meal to another by putting a mappa on top of the challah, making kiddush. Today we have the Indian of when Yontif falls out after Shabbos. Exactly what is the order of Havdalah? What is the order of Havdalah? And this is the sugya. Now, I could do two things. I'm going to do the thing that will make you appreciate me. This is all self-serving egotism, okay? That's all it is. Let's begin the Gemara. Gufa, Yontif Shechalias B'Shabbos, Rava Amayakna, Shmuel Amayanhak, Rabba Amayahanik, Beleva Amakinya, Verabba Amakina, Mabre Davina Amakia, Marta Ambe Arma Bishmeda Bishua Nihik. Very geschmack. Okay, now that I did that, I go like, okay, let's see what we got. We have an ancient chart that's been around for 21 years. Let's see what,
A little more.
maybe more. Okay, and let's get a little closer. Let's move this so Steve can see what's going on here. Okay. These are the various shittas beginning with Rav, Shmuel, Rabba, or Levi or Rabba, depending on the Rashbam, Rabbonon, Marbre Dorvino, and Marata Mishmed Yeshua at the bottom, which you can't see because the chart is obscured. So they make it a little even larger over here. Let's see if we can make it larger. Okay, here we go. Here's Rav's shita, guys. Rav holds Yakna, Yayin, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah. And here's the reason. Everyone have a chart? Avram, you have one?
Yeah.
Good. Back, have one?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's good? Good. Now, Yakna. Yayin goes first because number one, Mishum Tadir. Tadir V'Shena Tadir, Tadir Kaidem, very well-known rule in Shas, something that's more common and something that's less common. The more common one goes first, and Yayin is most common. Now, Rav holds Kiddush always goes before Havdalah. That's a very key to understanding the sugya. Rav always holds Kiddush always goes before Havdalah. Even though the day is ended and you think Havdalah should go first, but Rav holds Kiddush goes first. And the reason, there's twofold reasons. If you look on the chart, it's number two. Kiddush is adifa me Havdalah. It's stronger than Havdalah. It's a more prestigious bracha than Havdalah. And therefore it goes, it takes precedence. So if I have simultaneously the capacity to make Kiddush or Havdalah, Kiddush, according to Rav, takes precedence, or Shleinira Kedusha Sayom Kemasoi. If I go ahead and I make Havdalah first and I make Kiddush second, it has the appearance of, oh, Kiddush such an ol upon me. I'm delaying it. So as an excitement, sort of, we make Kiddush first to show that it's not a burden upon me. I'm happy that it's Yontif. So therefore, Yakna, Yayin, as Tadir V'Shena Tadir, Kuf, Kiddush takes precedence over Havdalah, either one or two reasons, because of the chashivas of it, or because I want to show that the Kiddush is not an oil upon me. And three, Ner Havdalah, it makes sense. Ner always goes before Havdalah, like the rest of Shabbos for Yom Tovim, that you make a Borim Mi'Oryash before you make the bracha of a Mavdal Mikdash Shechal. That is the sheet of Rav. Yakna. Good? Shmuel's shita is Yanhak. And the key to understanding Shmuel is that Havdalah comes before Kiddush. Havdalah comes before Kiddush. Why? Because you see, it says the mashal of the king and the duke. Shabbos is the king, and Yom Tov is the duke. It's a lesser of a prestigious position, right? Shabbos is the king. So when you have the king and the duke, what do? You greet the duke first, or you go ahead and accompany the king first? You accompany the king. So first we're Malav Shabbos, that's Havdalah, and then we go ahead and greet the duke. So the biggest machlokus to understanding this is between Rav and Shmuel. Rav says Kiddush comes first, and Shmuel says Havdalah comes first. So now Yanhak is Yayin comes first. Why? Because it's Tadir. Ner comes before Havdalah, because that's the order of Shabbos to Yontif. And Kiddush, the Duke, comes after you finish with what? With Shabbos. So that would explain the sheet of Rav and the sheet of Shmuel. Good. Now we have Rabbi or Levi or Rav. Again, the Girsa change in the Rashbam, but in understanding is, let's pull it up. So we have Yahanak. Yud is Yayin. It goes first. It goes first because it is what? It's Tadir. Now he holds like who? Like Shmuel, that Havdalah comes before Kiddush. So the Hay is going to come before the Kuf. Now, if that's really, why isn't the Ner before the Havdalah? Why isn't the Ner before the Havdalah like we always do? So look at number 3. The Ner exists between the Havdalah and Kiddush, because Havdalah and Kiddush weaken each other. Fellas, Kiddush is a heavy kedusha. It's taking chol and making it kodesh, whereas Havdalah is the opposite effect. It's taking kodesh and making it chol. So therefore, to go ahead and separate between these two extremes, we put ner in between. That's the shita of what of Rabbi Levi of Yahanak. Yayin Koidem. He holds like Shmuel that Havdalah comes before Kiddush based upon the mashal of the king and the duke, and the nun is in the middle to separate two. Like polarity, right? The two magnets in the back. Kiddush being one that creates kedusha, and Havdalah one that is makish and weakens kedusha. That's the Rabbi Levi. The third one is kinya. It's amazing to me, right? Each one, and you find the reason of each one. The next one is kinya. Now he holds like Rav. That, again, you always start with Rav and Shmuel. It makes sense. He holds like Rav. What are we going to put first? Kiddush, right? So the kuf comes before the hay. Yeah. Now he wants the yud next to the Havdalah to show that the yayin is not only coming for Kiddush, but it's going also on the Havdalah. You might think, since you're being machlis yontif and you have a cup of wine, you might think it's only going on Kiddush. Therefore, we juxtaposed it next to Havdalah to show that the yayin is going on Havdalah as well. And we put the ner before is because ner comes before Havdalah. What we said, but you can't use it for. We said that the Kiddush and Yantiv is one thing. Kiddush and Berchas Hamazon. That was Berchas Hamazon. Berchas Hamazon you can't. But we said for Havdalah you could. Kiddush and Havdalah you could. Now, or Einloi, Kina is Kiddush. Again, he holds. Again, if Kiddush comes first, he holds like Rav, right? That Kiddush comes for Havdalah. However, he holds that the Seder, this seems to make sense. It's the regular Seder of every right? Kiddush before Havdalah, because of Rav, Yayin and Ner, and Hay. And I guess he wants to put Kiddush as far away from Hay as possible. So Yayin, Ner, Havdalah, that would be the order of Havdalah. And that's the shita of Rav or Levi. Okay. Now the next sheet is the shita that's the shita of the Rabbanan. The next shita, who's the person? It is Mar Berei de Ravina. He holds Nikya. Okay? Kiddush comes before Havdalah because he holds like Rav. So the Kuf comes before the Hay. Yud connected to what? Havdalah, because he wants to show that Yayin goes on the Havdalah. And again, the question was, so why can't Yayin go on Kiddush, but because you can make Kiddush on Pas? It's not Havdalah. You can only make on wine. You can make Kiddush on Pas also. So you don't have to limit it to say that the Yayin goes on Havdalah. And why does he put the Ner in the beginning? This is an original pshat. Ner comes first, number 3. Ner koidim the nenet techila ve'eina roitzel hafsik bein Yayin v'Havdalah. Of all the things, the one you have hana right away, guys, is the Ner. As soon as you lit the candle, you're having hana from its flame. So therefore, you put the nun first because you don't want the ner to be mafsik bein Yayin v'Havdalah. You don't want the ner to be Yayin ner v'Havdalah. You don't want, again, we want the yud next to the hay, guys. Right? You see, we want the yud next to the hay. Why do we want the yud next to the hay? To show that the wine goes on the Kiddush and Havdalah. That the wine goes on the Havdalah. So I can't put the nun over there. which would be the order of Havdalah, right? Yayin, Ner, Havdalah, right? I can't put it there. I put it Ner, Yayin, Kuf. There's no. In other words, once I'm taking it out, where should I put it? So it makes the most sense to put it early, the first one, because it's the first thing you have enough from. And therefore, I put it before the Kiddush rather than after the Kiddush. Rather than saying Kiddush, Ner, Yud, Hey, once I'm moving the Nun out of the slot, since I have enough from it first, it makes sense to put it first. And the final Shita, the Shita of Marta Mishmeit, the Rabbi Yeshua, is Nahayak. Nun, Hey, Yud, Kuf. The Nun goes first. Why? The same reason we just said. Since I want the yayin, I want the ner. I have that what tchila, and I want the yayin, guys, between the havdalah and the kiddush. Now he holds like Shmuel. How do you know he holds like Shmuel? Because he's putting havdalah before kiddush, right? He holds the mashal of the king and the duke, so he's putting havdalah before kiddush. Now, why is the yud in the middle between the hey and the kuf? Because Martin Mishmei Yeshua holds, I want to show that the yayin's going on both. It's both going on Havdalah and on Kiddush. And I'm going to put them there first because what of Nenet Chila. Okay, now we could do the Gemara.
Rabbi, do we hold like the Chachamim?
No, we'll see. No, we hold like Rava. We didn't see the Pesach yet. We didn't get the Pesach yet. We'll get to the Pesach in a second. But again, that's the chart. And now, again, you can keep it. It's a good thing to have because or else you're going to have to go through a lot of Rashbams, a lot of long Rashbams. Someone had to do it, so I did it many years ago. So now, let's see the Gemara now, okay? We'll get to this man soon. We didn't discuss. We didn't mention it at all, right? We didn't mention that at all, okay? So Gufa, Yontif Shechal B'Yosach Shabbos, Rav Yakno, because Rav holds that he wants what? Kiddush before Havdalah. Why? Because it's adif, because it's stronger, right? We said two reasons. We said either because it's stronger or because what? Because or you shouldn't see that kiddush is like an oil by delaying it. Shmuel Yanhak, because of the mashal we're going to give that we're going to want Havdalah before kiddush. For Rava Oma Yahanak, he holds like Shmuel, and he puts Yayin first because of Tadir. He puts Ner in between because the Makich Yisada, the Levi Yoma Kinya Kiddush first because he holds like Rav, and he has the Yud next to the Hey because he wants the Yayin next to Havdalah to show that it's not as a result of Kiddush. Rabbanan Armi Kina, he holds like Rav, that Kedusha comes first. He puts the Ner between the Yud and the Hey to be mafsik between the two. Ma'abere the Rav No Omar Nikya, you put the Ner first because of it's the first thing you have enough from. Kiddush and Hey, he holds like Rav, and Yud in the middle to show you Shachas to both. Marta Meshmei Yeshua is Nahayak, the Ner is first, then is Yayin, Havdalah B'Kiddush. He holds like what? Like Shmuel, that Havdalah comes for Kiddush, and he puts the Yayin, he puts the Yud, according to this, he put the Yud before the Kuf, is to be Slemich to what? To Kiddush, that you shouldn't between Yayin and Kiddush, that he was Slemich to both. So now, it makes a little sense. Sholach le avu de Shmuel le Rabbeinu. Yomedeinu Rabbeinu say the Havdalah's heich. What's the order of Havdalah? So Sholach le kachem Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yossi. Shomim b'shem Aviv. Shomim b'shem Yeshua ben Chananya. Nahayak. He says that first the Ner, then Havdalah, then Yain, then Kiddush. Rab Chanina mashal Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya lamelech sheyotze v'arparkas. The mashal where you're putting Havdalah before Kiddush is a mashal for a king and a duke. They go out nichnis. First, you accompany the melech. In this case, the symbolism is the Shabbos. And then you go and greet the parkas. So first, I'm going to go take care of Havdalah, which is Malav Shabbos, and then I'm going to go to make Kiddush, which is what? Greeting the parkas, the duke. My Havdalah. Bottom line, my Havdalah. Abaya Oma Yaksina. Now he holds like Rav that Kiddush comes before what? Havdalah. He holds Yayin is first because Yayin is Tadir. He has Zman extra, guys, right? He has Zman. This is speaking where you have Yontif, it's the first day of Yontif, and you're going to make a Zman means you're going to make a Shechianu. So now, this is the same as Rav. It's Yakno with a Zayin. So Yud comes first because of Tadir. Kiddush comes before Havdalah because of the Chashivas or because it should be a load. and ner comes next to Havdalah, which is normal, and Zman comes in the middle, or the not only the middle, but the middle. Zman comes. Why are you saying Shechianu, guys? Because of Havdalah or because of Kiddush? Are you saying Shechianu because of Shabbos or because of Yontif? Obviously because of Yontif. So you say, after you make Kiddush, you say Shechianu right then and there before you make Havdalah. That makes sense, right? Yaksana, Yayin, Tadir, Kuf, Kiddush, right? Because it's Machashiv. Zayin, Shechianu, because that's connected to Yontif. Ner, Havdalah. That's Rabba, that's Abaya. So Rava Amar, Steve, this is the halacha. So Rava Amar Yak Nahaz. Rava, we say Yak Nahaz as we will do this year. Yayin, and but this year you're gonna know why you do it, right? You can even stop and explain to the family. They'll think, well, look my tati. They'll say, yeah, you cheated. Yak Nahaz, right? Why is Yak Nahaz? Yayin, Kiddush, Ner, Havdalah Zman. Why you at first, guys? Tadir. Why Kiddush before Havdalah? Like Rav, Cheshivas a bracha, or that it shouldn't appear that Kiddush is a masli, that I'm delaying it, it's a burden, right? Havdalah afterwards, and Zman, because Zman is not connected to anything. You could say Zman even in the street, and therefore you always find the last bracha, except when you switch it around the second day of Sukkot, you always find Zman last. The Gemara in Daf Mem on Beis in Masechta Eruvin, we went through the sugya there. We saw that you can say Shechianu. If you don't make it the first day, you can make it the second day or the third day. You can say it alone in the street, so it's not connected to anything. So where do we put it? We put it at the end. So and we pass it now. Machlokes Abaye Rava. Who do we pass it like? Rava. So question. Next piece of Gemara. So the Hilchas Rava. The halacha is like Rava. Now you should ask us Alam Shakasha. I learned with my kid Bava Metzia. And in Masechta Bava Metzia, I was taught that the malacha is like a rava, with the exception of Yal Kigam, only those 6 places. So why was it necessary over here to go ahead and say the halacha is like rava? I know the halacha is like rava. It's not part of the Yal Kigam. So and for Tosfos, you got a whole list of other people that don't paskin. It's not that you don't paskin the rava connected Abaya. You're passing rava connected Marta, connected Rav, connected Shmuel. You're going to all the way down the line. Really, he paskin seems to paskin like Rav. Then he seems to paskin like Rav. He just added this man. Rav said Yakna, and he just added. Okay, just Yotzei B'Dvareinu. Let's finish. I think that's basically the Gemara. We're going to do Havdalah, but basically, just the concept is started off with the Machlokes Rav and Shmuel, right? What goes first? What takes precedence, Kiddush or Havdalah? In Svara, I would agree with Shmuel, and we always go sequentially. So Shabbos is ending. Make Havdalah. Kiddush greets the new day, and that's exactly what Shmuel says. Finish with the king, Melech. Go ahead, take care of the prince. The duke. But no, says Rav. Yeah, you have the chashivas. It's time of Zman Kiddush. It's in front of you 2 brachas. You have Kiddush or Havdalah. The chashivas of the bracha or the svara that it shouldn't appear that Kiddush is. It's I'm delaying it. You make Kiddush first, and that's all we paskin. Make Kiddush first. You always make Kiddush, and then at the end of Kiddush, they say, if it's Saturday night, right, you're looking at, and that's what you're going to do this year. You're going to say Yak Nahaz, and that you know why.
We don't hold it a king and a duke thing.
I can't hear you.
We didn't hold it a king and a duke thing.
Yeah, I mean, we don't hold, we don't pass in that. We may hold it. It's far, it makes sense, but here we're not. We're saying the halacha is like Rav.
Abaya holds like Rav also.
What?
Just Abaya holds like
Everyone
Rav
holds
also.
like Rav. Abaya just had to find where you put this man. Everyone held like Rav. Everyone held like Rav. Both Abaya and Rava are saying Yakna. The question is, where do you put the zzz? Right? Where do you put that Zion? Again, I'm Machavusa today. Until we saw the Gemara in Eruvin, it made sense to put the Zman after, right after Kiddush. If I'm making Kiddush first, connect the Zman to Kiddush, because Zman is only coming as a result of Kiddush. But again, after you see that it's not adhering to that, it's not connected to it, then that's the winning argument. Okay, the sugya again continues discussing the halachas of Havdalah. This is where there was a guy in Shir today. I'm not going to tell you who he is. He had an opportunity to go out to eat, but he said, "No, I'm coming to learn Torah, Lishma, L'Shem Shemayim. I want to get schar." That's what I'm saying. He told me something else, but anyway, L'Chal Apachis, he's getting schar, And it's interesting, which is what he told me. And it says the Gemara. Rav Huna bar Yehuda Yiklol Lebei Rava. Rav Huna bar Yehuda came to the house of Rava. Aisel Kamayu, and this is a regular Mitzvah Shabbos, and this is the halachas of Havdalah. Aisel Kamayu Ma'or Ubesamim. He brought in front of him a fire and spices. Birich Rava Abesamim Bereisha, like we do. The Hodar Amar and then Ner, like we do. Right? First make a bracha on Besamim, then a bracha make Bari Mariyesh. Amalei, so said Rav Huna bar Yehuda to Rava, Bein Beis Shammai Umein Beis Hillel. If you ate a meal and you only have one kais, what do? Here's what you do. Ma'or Bereisha, both Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel said you make the bracha of Ner first. So the kasher is, how can you make on Besamim first if both Beis Shammai and more importantly Beis Hillel hold you make the Ner first? How can you make Besamim first? Let's theorize and see. Besamim umayhi did nan Beis Shammai yomim Ner umazain. Again, this is speaking where you only had one cup of wine and you're using it for the brechas amazain. And it came Havdalah. So what do? Ner first, mazain for the bracha on for benching, Besamim, Havdalah. So you're making Ner first. Beis Hillel yomim Ner. Again, you're making Ner first. Besamim, then Besamim. Umazan. So the machlokes is Besamim Umazan first, Havdalah. Bottom line is, but they both hold Ner first. So here's the kasha. How can you, Rava, go ahead and make Besamim first? You see, by Hillel held you make what? Ner first. So Ani Rava answered, Basreva Amar Zudiv Reb Meir. The machlokes as reported, you just reported between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, the words of Reb Meir, who we don't paskin like, Al Rabbi Yehuda, who we do paskin like, has a different girsa of exactly what the machlokes was. Oimer Lo nechlu Beis Shammai Beis Hillel ala mazayin shu betchila. They both agree that the first bracha you make is on the benching. Ve'al Havdalah shu b'soif, and Havdalah is the end. Aman nechluku ala ma'or v'besamim. Which one comes first? Beis Shammai omer ma'or. First you make bracha on ner v'akach besamim, which is what we don't do. Beis Hillel omer besamim v'akach ma'or. So Rav is explaining to Rav Huna bar Yehuda, what? I do like Beis Hillel according to Rabbi Yehuda, not Beis Hillel according to Rabbi Meir, Beis Hillel according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yochanan, Nagu Am, the people are noyig ki Beis Hillel balibad Rabbi Yehuda. The Am is noyig right like Beis Hillel according to Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, that's our meaning. Now, Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba iklo lebei Rava. Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba came to Rava on a regular Shabbos. Chazi he saw the Baruch Bari Pri Agafen Akisa Kama. He made a bracha Bari Pri Agafen on the first kais. But the Baruch Akisa de Birchasa, and he made a Bari Pri Agafen on the kais of benching. So two brachas, one Agafen on Kiddush and one Agafen on benching, which is what we do. The Ishti and he drank it. So later, Yaakov bar Abba said to Rava, Lam lecha kuli hai. Why do you have to make two brachas? You already made a bracha once. So why are you making a second bracha? You made a bracha already. Why are you making another bracha? You made a bracha already. So Amalei, so Rava told Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba, Ki Avinu Bereish Galusa, when I was the house of the Bereish Galusa, the head of the Babylonian Jewish government. This is what we did. We first went ahead and made two brachas. So in other words, so since we made two brachas there, we made two brachas here. Amalei said Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba, Teinach Bereish Galusa, the Hachiyavid, the Safik Maisila, Safik Loy Maisilon. Guys, when do you have to make another bracha? When you had Hesach Hadas. When you're in the house of Reish Galusa, says the Rashbam, when you got your first cup, you had no way of knowing you're going to get a second cup. So the reason why you made the second bracha, because you were Mesiach Das, you removed the Das already. You had no way of knowing you're getting the second bracha. You had no way it's coming. Okay. But Hacha Hamanach Kisa Kaman. Over here, the cup of benching is in front of you, so you know it's there. Since you know it's there, why are you making a bracha on it? You don't have Hesach Hadas, it's in front of you. So the bracha you made, the Bari Pri Agafen that you made on the far bracha for Kiddush should go ahead and be Yaitzi for the Bari Pri Agafen on the. So no, guys, it's a basic question that we do all the time. We know a guy benches on a kais and he makes a Bari Pri Agafen on the kais. What's the reason? You have three guys in your house. You know a little bit of halacha. You can have a mezumin, and you know a little bit of halacha. And if you have a mezumin, you should have a kais of wine. You should have a kais of wine, right? So the guy expects, there's going to be a kosher wine at the end. You make a bracha in the beginning. Why is the person making a bracha at the end? Just like he was yotzei with the bracha in the beginning, so he should have to make a bracha again.
Isn't it a separate mitzvah?
What?
It's a separate mitzvah, no?
So mehechatesi, you have to make a bracha on it.
Uh-huh.
Mehechatesi, you have to make a bracha on it. Listen, we're going to develop halacha. We're going to see why now, but in other words, I'm just building up to it. In other words, you know you do this, right? But why? Okay, now. Hacha mana kisa, come on. V'daitan lave, and the key is v'daitan lave, so you don't have hesach hadas. Yadas hesach hadas, removal of yadas. You see it in front of you, datan alave. It's on the kais. Good. So I'm a lay. So said Rabbi to Rabbi Yaakov bar Abba, Ana avdei ki talmidei de Rav. I did like the talmidim of Rav. The Rav Bruna of Rav Chananel, talmidei de Rav Havei. Rav Bruna and Rav Chananel were talmidim of Rav. Haviyasvei besudasa. They were sitting in a suda. Koi alayu Rav Yeba Saba. Rav Yeba Saba, he was going ahead and being mishamish them. He was taking care. He was the mishamish. Amalei. So they said to him, Rav Bruna and Rav Chananel said to Rav Yeva, Havlon v'nivrach. Give us the cup and we will bench. L'soif amru lei havlon v'nishti. We changed our minds. Give us the cup and we'll drink. Question: do you have to make a bracha or not on that cup? Why shouldn't you have to? You didn't bench. You didn't have a hefsek in between. Why should you? As soon as you said havlim mevarich, that's considered the end of the suda. That was hesach hadas. So Amar lahu Rav Yever reported to Rav Chananel Rav Bruna, Hachi Amarav. The Rebbe said, Kivin dar misai, since it was stated, Havlon give us v'nivrach. It's lechulo limishti. It's us to drink. My timer, the asichu dataichu. You had hesach hadas. As soon as you said you're going to bench, you had hesach hadas. And therefore, I Rava hold like Rav, Talmidei the Rav, who said, what? In fact, said, once you said let's bench, it's over. Memela, once you're benching, therefore you make another bracha. And that's why I made another bracha. I don't know if that's what you meant, Shalom. But again, that's what, in fact, that's what Birchas Hamazon does. It's Masiach Daite from the Suda. Let's see Rabbeinu, let's see the Rashbam here, guys. 3 lines down, I'm going to get the Rashbam. Once you said Havlan v'nivrach, give it to us and we will bench, right? Now it's us to drink. Alma, Birchas Hamazon, we see Birchas Hamazon, Asuchei Daitahu. It's considered a Hesach Hadas. When you bench, it's removing you from the bracha. And therefore, you have to make a bari priya gofen after Birchas Hamazon because of benching. For hochi naginu, and this is aminig. This is aminig. This is the minig. You know, he's telling you this is a halacha. Now we ask the kasha. V'yafagav the shamina mehacha. The Birchas Hamazon if suki sudasahu. Even though we hear from here that Birchas Hamazon is considered a hefsek, loiboy bruchi ala yayin la'achrav. You don't have to make a noch bracha after the first cup of wine. Fellas, guys, look at me. Let's say you were drinking a cup of wine. You drank a revius of wine. What do you make afterwards? You make ala gefen al piyal gefen, right? Yes? Mm-hmm. Hopefully. You make a gefen al piyal gefen, yeah? That's what you do. Like you make an ala michya on mezainis, you make an ala gefen al piyal gefen on wine. So, I just had a suda. What am I doing? I'm benching. Good. Why am I not making al gefen al piyal gefen before benching? If benching is hesach hadas, it's meaning I'm making a hefsek between what I did previously and what I'm doing now. What's the answer? The benching patters up the ala gefen. It's the benching the patters. So that's what again, it seems like a pashut thing, but this is where it comes from. This pashut thing comes from here. You should see it. So that's what he says. Like boy beruchi ala yayin la'acharav, you don't have to make a nach brach on the yayin. Mikami the nivrach Birchas Hamazon before you bench. Lefisha Birchas Hamazon pat rasai. Birchas Hamazon pot is the wine that you had earlier in the meal. Hashta achas me'in shalosh sagilu. If a bracha that's only me'in, an abridged version of benching, kol shkein shalosh brachas atzman, the benching itself. Hilchos Gedolos, it's not because of, and the Hilchos Gedolos is also right. So you don't have to make enough bracha ad la'achar b'chas hamazon. You have to b'chas hamazon. So that's the reason. That's the reason we're given. The reason why you bench make a bari piyagofin on the bracha on the kais is because of benching. It's a basic class. Okay, continues the Gemara. Amema umazutra Ravashi. Amema umazutra Ravashi. 3 gedolei amaroyim. Havayasvei besuda. They were eating a suda. The koil lion who was being mishamish them. Ravacha bred the Rava. Ravacha, the son of Rava. So Amema birich al kisa v'kisa. Amema made a bracha on every single kais that came during the meal. You brought a kais by the first course, you made a bracha. You brought it by the second course, you made a bracha. You brought a kais for dessert wine, you made a bracha. You made 3 brachas in the meal, 3 bari piyagofins each time. Ravashi baruch hakisa kama, the sule baruch. Excuse me, I skipped. Umazutra baruch hakisa kama, hakisa basra. Mazutra made on the first kais, and he made on the benching. He made on the first kais, he made on benching. Ravashi baruch hakisa kama, the sule baruch. Ravashi went ahead and made on the first, but he didn't make on the benching. So the only one that seemed to act like the Talmidei Rav is Mazutra. Mazutra, what did he do? He made the bracha on the first one and on benching, which him to be the Talmidei Rav. But Rav Yehuda went ahead and told Rav Bruna and Rav Chananel they should do. So it seems the bizarre. Ameimer made what on each one. Mazutra seemed to do the right thing, and Ravashi seems to say, very interesting enough, that the bracha that you made one time patters the bracha on benching, right? That's what it seems so. Says the Gemara, Amalahu Ravacha by Rava, who's been mishamishim, Anon Kiman Nevad. Like, who you do? He asked, each guy did something different. Who are you doing? Who are you doing according to? Amema, who made a bracha on each one, Omar Nimlach. That's easy. He said, each time I thought that's it. And he changed his mind. So I made 1 cup, he had 1 cup, he goes, then they brought out a good wine. Oh, no, so he has chadas. Nimlach, so therefore I can make a bracha. Mazutra Omar, Mazutra said, I know the Avdi Talmidei Rav. That makes the most sense. I feel like the Talmidei Rav. I held that benching is Masiyach Taita, and therefore I made a 1 bracha for that, potted all the wine during the meal, and I went ahead and I made a bracha after benching, because benching was as the Talmidei Rav. Rav Ashi Omar, Rav Ashi says, less hilchos Talmidei Rav. The halacha is not like Talmidei Rav. In other words, benching is not hesach hadas, and therefore the bracha that you make first patters even the benching. Right? Why? Why does he hold like that? The yontif shechaliyos acha hashabbos, yontif that goes ahead what and falls out what after Shabbos, right? The yontif that falls out after Shabbos, like this year. For Omar Rav, and Rav says yakna. Rav says yayin kiddush ner havdalah. And he didn't go ahead and make a bracha, 2 brachas, one on what? On Kiddush, and one on the Havdalah. He didn't make one on Kiddush and one on the Havdalah. In other words, if you are correct that benching is considered Mesiach Dasa, so Havdalah also should be Mesiach Das, and you should have to make 2 brachas, but you only make 1. Veloihi, it's not true. It's not a good comparison. Why? Hasam Akadaiti Mishisa. Over there by the meal, when he benches, he's ocker his das from drinking. Birchas Hamazon says, I'm not going to drink anymore. It means it's an end, right? Masha Enkain by what? By here, I'm making Abdullah, I'm holding it in my hands. Okay, let's begin. Now, this is the sugya of Havdalah. This is the sugya of Havdalah. And again, a lot of things that we do all the time that we can use an explanation for. Himati Lavdule. This guy is going back on Rav Yaakov Bar Ada with Rava, back on that meal. He commented on Rava making a bracha before and then a bracha after benching. We digressed to discuss where Rava knew it from. He told him Talmidei Rav. We told him Maisa between Amema, Mazutra, and Rav Ashi. And now we're going back to that meal, that regular Shabbos meal. He stayed the whole Shabbos, Rav Yaakov Bar Abba with Rava, and now he's observing Rava by Havdalah. He's observing Rava by Havdalah. Kimati Lavdule, when it reached the time of Havdalah, Kom Shamei, the Shamis got up, the Adlik Avuka Misharga, and he went and he lit. Avuka is literally a torch from a shagar, from a candle. he lit a sharga, he lit avuka from a sharga. You know, there was a candle lit, and he lit from that candle a bigger light. Amalei. So Rav Yaakov asked Rava, Lomelcha kuli hai. Why do you need what? Why do you need so much? Hamlancha sharga. Why do you need a torch? You already he lit. You have the light in front of you. So Amalei. So Shemim Vidai did nafshik said Rava to Rav Yaakov bar Rava bizarrely said maybe he did his own thing. Oh yeah, maybe he did his own thing. So Amalei said Rav Yaakov bar Rava to Rava, 1 second. If you didn't hear from you, Demar, from the master, he wouldn't have done it. Don't try to pull that one on me. What's the reason that he lit from a candle a torch? Don't tell me he did it himself. He's only doing it because you told him to do it. Amalei. So now Rava answers Rav Yaakov Barada. It's a mitzvah to miyashev this conversation. There's a Mordechai over here that attempts to do it. I was not zeicha to understand the Mordechai, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I looked in the Mesifta. There are reasons why he did it. Okay, but anyway, l'chol hapachas. The question's there. Amalei le'savale mar avukal Abdullah mitzvah min amufcher. Does not the Amar Rabbi Yaakov Bar Abba hold that to use a avuka is performing the mitzvah in a better manner? What's the source? What's bracha do we make? Make a bracha boirei me'orei ha'esh. What does me'orei mean? Lights of. It's plural, guys. It's not boirech me'or ha'esh. It's me'orei ha'esh. There are different colors in candles. There's an orange part, there's a red part, there's a yellow part, a blue part if you get it hot enough, right? To see the different colors, you need more than one wick. The avuka is more than one wick. You ever see people on makbid to have two? You have to have. That's why you put two together, guys. You always have two. You don't have one. The reason is because ma'oirei. You need two, and therefore, so he told him the reason. You want to know why he lit from the candle in avuka is because of this, because it's a mitzvah min hamufcher, which would fit in very well with what we said yesterday, right? You be yoitza the havdalah either way, whether you go ahead and use whether you use a torch or not, you'll be yoitza havdalah. But as we spoke about yesterday, there's doing a mitzvah and there's doing a mitzvah, and this would be a mitzvah min hamufcher. It doesn't make the mitzvah any better. It's just done in a more covered manner.
Bigger shadow is that he took it from an existing light. He took it from an existing candle.
Oh yeah, on Shabbos you could always do that because. Well, no. Again, really, I'll tell you, it's not. It's not. You could always take it from an existing candle. You even can take it from one that you lit. In other words, we did this in Masechta Brachos. We saw what was the difference between Yom Kippur and Shabbos. Is Yom Kippur the reason you make Havdalah from Oris because you couldn't use it. You could not use it that day. So you want to show that it's mutter now. But you can't light a new one because that new one wasn't around during the day. Shabbos, there's two reasons. One, because you couldn't use it, which still exists, and that's why Hilly you could go ahead and do it. And the second, but you could even strike a new one because Shabbos is the birth of light. The Medrash says that other reason the lights went out, and Hashem showed him you take two flints and you gave him gas to put two flints together and create a fire. So it's not that you have to do it, but you even could do it because it bari mariation. Hamadl being creditable. Okay, good. So now what's the lashon of the matbeya of a havdalah? Omar then Omar pasach Omar he began and he said hamavdal ben kodesh lechol ben or lechoshich ben yisrael la'amim ben yom hashvi l'sheshem yom asay. We've heard this before. Amalei lama lecha kuli hai. Why do you need so much? Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav hamavdal ben kodesh lechol zuhi havdalah shel Rabbi Yehuda. If someone says hamavdal ben kodesh lechol, right? That's the havdalah of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. So it's mashma one expression. So he goes on Amalei. So Rabbi told Rav Yaakov Barada, Anok the Hasvirle. I hold like the following. If you want to minimize the havdalas, la yufsak mi gimel. Moisef wants to add la yosef al zayin. To understand this Gemara, guys, look at Kuf Dalet. Look at the next spot. Look, see the Taisvis like Mistakel B'Tzurasa D'Zuzah? Guys, the fifth Taisvis down. The look parallel to Amr Yishub and Levi. You have it, guys. Amr Yishub and Levi. Hamadil tzarich sheyomer. If someone makes Havdalah, you have to go ahead and you have to say me'ein Havdalas amuris b'Torah. You have to say similar to the different Havdalas that it says in the Torah. So, for example, Meisvei, say the Havdalas heicha oimer hamadil mikodesh l'chol ben olachayshich ben Yisrael amin ben yom hashida shesh yamasa ben tamei l'tohar ben hayam l'charava, between the yam and dry land, ben mayim el yoinim l'mayim tachtainim, this water and the upper waters, ben kanim l'levim Yisraelim. In other words, these are all the Havdalos of the Torah, Muvdalim, and one more, the Chaysim b'sei the Brachus amad mikodesh l'chol. So now you have 7 over there, the 7 choices. So he said, why did you do one? Why don't you just, he said, Ravada said to him, why don't you just say amad mikodesh l'chol? That's it. What is it? So Be'emes he said 4 guys. Hamad ben kodesh l'chol, ben olachayshich, ben Yisrael amin, ben yom hashvi l'shesh yamasa. He said 4. So what did he tell him? I hold you can either make 3 or 7, correct? So he did neither. He didn't do 3, he didn't do 7, he did 4. Said the Gemara, Amar Leiser, Yaakov bar Ada said to Rabba, V'hamar le'tilsa Amar, Sheva. You didn't do 3, you didn't do 4. You didn't do 3, you didn't do 7. You did 4. So Amar Amalei told him, Ibra, be'emes, it's true. It's true, but I really did 3. Why? Because ben yom hashvi l'shesh yamasa me'ein chasimihi. When it said that, I said the lashon of that's, in other words, ben yom ben or l'chayshech 1, right? Amad ben kodesh l'chol ben or l'chayshech ben Yisrael am is 3, and then ben yom hashvi l'shesh yamasa is the part of the chasim of the bracha. So in fact, I only said what? I only said 3. Now, what is this talking about? V'Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Hamavdil Sarich Sheyoymar Me'ein Chasimus. You know what? I'm going to hold up this tomorrow. Okay. And thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate. Tomorrow I'll be out in the morning, sometime in the morning, and the Motzei Shabbos 8:00, and be on time because I have to go to my grandson's playing in a playoff game, and it's very important to me.